Hey guys, Jared, Psych, Laurence here, founder of Modern Flirting. Welcome to another episode of the Modern Flirting Podcast. I am joined here with the legendary Kieran Walsh with Ghost, getting our shit together, which a lot of guys need to do. How you doing, Kieran?
I'm good, mate. I'm really liking that intro. Legendary. I'm not sure if
Legendary.
I, I'm not sure if I'm there yet, but
You will
hopefully
be. By the
I'll
time this comes out, you will be. So,
be.
so
Brilliant.
let's get into, for guys who don't know or never heard of you, right? What it is exactly that you do? How are you changing the game, so to speak?
Yeah, well, so the short answer would be dating coach. But our philosophy at Ghost, getting our shit together, is that I understand the dating stuff really well. I don't know if you or your listeners remember the book The Game when it came out about
Hmm.
16 years ago, something like that. I was always sort of doing okay with women. I was about 16 when it came out, and I just remember reading it. And obviously now we know in the community that a lot of the content maybe isn't so hot,
Hmm.
but it was just that sort of I don't know, the analytical approach to dating and that sort of thing really just sort of lit this fire in me. And then from there, I've been practicing ever since, really. I mean, going out, meeting new people, looking at theory, looking at, okay, what's the actual evolutionary psychology basis behind what we're talking about here?
Sure.
What does it mean to be attractive? All of that sort of good stuff. And eventually I got quite good at it, as anyone does if they're doing something repetitively and they're doing it smartly. Um, and then it got to a point where I felt like I was really comfortable in dating. I had a lot of choice. And then my friends were coming to me and asking about different psychology questions surrounding attraction, that sort of thing, and relationship stuff. Started helping them, then started helping friends of friends, and then thought, let's turn this into a business.
So let's get into like not everybody does get better, even though they're repeating it, they're going at it again and again and again. There's a giant failure rate I've seen amongst when I talk to the majority of guys I talk to, they get a little bit better and then they plateau and then they can't get to the next level. They just whatever they try. So you talk about doing this smartly. What is the right way to learn this? How does somebody actually get to that next level?
Okay, yeah. So firstly, I think it's like, so if you put it up against a discipline like weightlifting, say fitness,
Sure.
you're going to improve faster if you have a good roadmap. So if you know someone who's done it before and they've noted exactly what's important, so what sort of nutrition going in, what sort of length of reps, all of that sort of thing, then you're going to get there a lot faster. I had RSD as a resource when I was coming up.
Mhm.
Now they're not even making a comment about whether they're good or bad or overall, but they were very helpful to me. It's just something about the way they described theory. It was very matter of fact and to the point, and that gelled with me, and I was able to learn off them really quickly.
Mhm.
And it was just, I just had a proclivity to want to go out, try this stuff. I'm naturally quite talkative, and yeah, so learning smart to me would be having a good roadmap. If you want it, like I say, it's up to you. If you're pretty good with women already and you want to just improve a little bit, yeah, maybe just like picking up some free resources, looking at YouTube videos, that might get you there. If you're maybe coming from a little bit of a tougher place, you might say, well, actually, I don't have 10 years to dilly-dally around with this stuff. I want to get better quickly. I'm going to go to someone who knows, and you can set up a plan, and
Sure.
that plan's always going to include hard work. It's always going to include lots of practice. That's where the gains are going to be made. But yeah, that's what I would say working smartly is.
So what were your main, because it sounds like you were already kind of good coming into this. What was your main sticking points or big things that you had to learn or aha moments along the way?
Yeah, I don't know about good. I was sort of 16 and I was just average, I suppose. It was
Okay.
like I'd had a couple of little girlfriends. I mean, what I'm saying is I know a lot of guys are coming from a difficult place. I had quite a nice, happy upbringing with loving family and all of that.
Right.
So when you're set up like that, it's quite easy to go out into the world and have maybe some less insecurities than other guys. So yeah, I was, and like I say, being naturally quite talkative, it was fairly natural for me to do. But
Sure.
just something about my interest in psychology, when I, like I say, saw that and read that book, The Game, it was just like, wow. And it was as if I couldn't do anything else. I was just so enraptured by this content that I had to spent some
Keep
time
applying
looking
it.
into this.
I can 100% relate on that. When I got into it, it was for the next 3 years. I ate, slept, breathed this shit. I couldn't really focus on anything else. I went from an A+ student, like really good student, to like a B- student
Oh no.
almost overnight because I just didn't give a shit. I was literally just whatever. So I think that's a big theme I found. A lot of guys when they get obsessed with it, literally like obsessed, and obsession is usually considered like a bad word. But in this case, I think it's the make or break thing. I think when people really do make it an obsession, that's when they break through. That's when they get results beyond what they thought was possible.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's good. Like you say, it's a bit of a loaded word. But if you really want to get good, you might have to take a year's worth of really intense sort of focus on this, and just say, okay, where I'm at the moment isn't good enough, and I'm going to implement until I get where I need to be.
Yeah. So obviously, on the podcast, I've interviewed tons of different dating coaches, from the girls like Kezia or Marnie, from guys like Robbie or legendary Hypnotica, to you name it, right? What would you say makes you different from all these other guys that are out there? What makes you actually kind of feel like stand out amongst the crowd?
Sure. Well, first, like disclaimers. First of all, we've been doing this a year, and I know you're a seasoned vet, Jared, and a lot of the guys that you speak to, a lot of the names you mentioned there are, and I've got to respect that and where they're coming from. Where I think we can be different as a brand is I've always felt that this industry, and I know lots of people disagree, but I feel like it can come up for air a little bit. I think it is a little bit relegated to okay, something that's weird. And like the political left, the political right, both are kind of in agreement that this pickup stuff is a bit dodgy, or however you want to say it.
Sure.
And I just feel like, no, I just think with perseverance and with the right branding and the right sort of, what I think it comes down to is like this, looking at that sort of criticism and saying like, yeah, I know. It can be a little bit freaky, a little bit weird, but just trust us. Just once you get in the door, it'll be okay. It will make sense. Like just accept that it's a little bit nerdy, a little bit creepy is the one word, but it is a little bit nerdy to get into this at the start. But
Yeah.
But so what? Like, I mean, if like my my girlfriend's into like comics and D&D and stuff like that, and that's much more widely accepted now as a society. And I think we can do the same for dating and game.
So if guys are training with you, I guess I'm just trying like, what's your like school of thought on this? Do you like show them a lot of different like maybe routines? Are you kind of just giving them drills or exercises to do more improv stuff?
Yeah.
What is like the key things when you're working with a guy that you're really looking to like change and fix around here? What are you trying to like teach at its core?
So yeah, I would say it's a real sort of case by case basis thing, and it's interesting you say techniques. And I've mentioned this before to other coaches. It's funny because when this industry came about, I mean, I know it's older than 30 years, but when it sort of really come to prominence about 20, 30 years ago, it was very much sort of technique based, very much like outcome orientated. And as this industry has grown, it's just become deeper and deeper. And I think that us as coaches have had to adopt sort of CBT methods, cognitive behavioral therapy, and it's like teasing out. Oftentimes, it's like the guy might have been bullied when he was like 4 years old or 6 years old,
Sure.
and there's something that we need to just tease out from back then. And then once you become conscious of something, you can let go of it. That's what I found. So yeah, I mean, it's really a case by case basis. I want the first initial call with a guy. Let's say I'm talking to them for an hour. It's going to just be finding out about their story, where they're coming from, exactly what they're looking for,
Okay.
and then just opening it up. When it's like an interaction really with a girl, because when they say something, I'm going to know. Okay, I need to pivot over here. What was that you just said? That sounds important to me. We're going to need to tease that out. But yeah, so it really would be a case by case basis, and it is a case of like, okay, we're speaking say on the Saturday morning. You're going out tonight. I want you to just focus on these couple of things. So I know where you from this hour's talk. I know where you're at skill wise with this.
So can you give us an example maybe of like what like the last guy you worked with? What couple of things was he working on?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So this is a guy where he is, and I won't say his name, but just shout out if you listen. He's a good guy, right? He'll recognize this. He has sort of comedic potential, and I think he almost has done some stand-up gigs, and would like to get into that a little bit more. And he enjoys sort of shocking humor, and sometimes he can just go over the line a little bit, and that's something I can completely relate to, because I like him. I'm the sort of guy where I would have said the slightly off thing. I'm trying to be a bit wild, a bit funny, but sometimes it's not so relatable. So what I told to this guy was, just remember the two Venn diagrams of authenticity, which is you want to get this sort of a little bit wild, a little bit jokey personality out of yourself, which is great. But that's one of the circles in the Venn diagram, and the other circle is relatability. So just when those the sweet spot in the middle of those two circles, that's when you know it's going to be really hitting, and that's when you're going to sort of see results from it. The other thing that I said to him was leadership. This was a huge, and like physical leadership, like literally like baby stepping the girl out of the club and then back to yours, obviously with consent and all of that. But when I understood this is when I realized, okay, this is what it means. This is how you can meet people quickly. Good things can happen really quickly. And it's just huge. It's just literally like you talk to a girl at the bar, say, and move her 5 feet up the bar with you and just say, like, I'll just come up with, so we can just talk to the barman up here, get a shot with her, say, and it's like, then it's like, oh, do you smoke? You smoke cigarettes? Maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. Go outside to have a cigarette, come back in, take it to your mates, then take it to her mates. And you're just building a bit of a yes ladder, you're building a little bit of compliance. And then it's no big deal at the end of the night when you say, okay, we're heading back for mine for an after party, fancy coming. It's just natural for her to follow that.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
So what's the ultimate goal that you find when working with these guys? What are they trying to accomplish here? Well, how do you know when like the mission is done?
Well, they've just got like, I mean, oftentimes they've got a deficit. It's like, a lot of them is just like, things are going badly. Like I've either had very few relationships or the ones that I'm getting into seem toxic in some way. I don't seem to be able to just light a girl up with my attractiveness. And it's just like, you can come at it from different ways. Maybe society is sort of hampering men. I think there's something to be said for that in terms of how you express yourself. We are, I don't know, it's funny, isn't it? Because people say things like, oh, men are feminized, this sort of thing. We are restrained as men it used to be anger, like the 50s dad, like he was okay to be angry. And maybe that's a good thing that that's changed, but it's how getting a guy to express themselves. A lot of these guys who aren't naturally that expressive, it's like, how are we going to find your inner voice? How are we going to get it to come out of you? And just get it to, right. Loudness, just volume is a big thing. Just guys going into interactions and it's like, no one can hear you, bro. You got to speak up a little bit. So yeah.
So is the okay? Actually, let me change this question. I was going to go more into like the cold approach stuff. Let me pivot on this. Earlier on the show here in a previous episode, I had one of the leaders of the Red Pill movement come on, and I'll share my thoughts that I definitely did with him before, and there's a little twist to this story. I'll share with you after. But what's your whole take on all these pills? Red pill, white pill, blue pill, black pill, rainbow pill. Like, what's your?
It sounds like I'm just as much of an internet nerd as you, because I'm au fait with certainly red pill, blue pill, white pill, black pill. So just very quickly, it's black pill is like, so red pill was the original one, right? And it's from the Matrix. It's you take the red pill, you're understanding what reality is, okay? Maybe the media has been lying to you about a certain scenario. And so you take the red pill, which is you're waking up, you come to a truer understanding of a phenomena, right? Okay. And so blue pill would be the opposite. It's more, blue pill is you're accepting the authorities' version of things. And then so black pill was this real sort of cynicism of like, just like, everything's down to looks and it's all biologically determined. And if you're born a beta, you're fucked. And white pill is a little bit more optimistic. And it's like, no, actually we can still be true to ourselves and not be deluding ourselves, but we can still have a happy outcome. So where I stand is very much, so personally, I would call myself red-pilled. I mean, there's a lot that I hear from the news media that I'm either distrustful of or wary of. But in general, I'm a pretty optimistic guy. I think that if you just turn off social media, if you turn off your TV, you go out into the real world, people are generally nice. People aren't, I mean, it's like you can get this understanding of like, I know in your country there was like, say, Portland riots for 100 days solid, right? And it's like, so
I mean, hell, we stormed the Capitol, so that was another.
Yeah, you stormed the Capitol. You can just think, Jesus Christ, like insurrection, like the country's close to going to war, but it's like you go out.
That's what my mom thinks exactly. So,
yeah. But you know, like you have an interaction at the grocery or in the supermarket, and it's like it's generally nice. It's generally upbeat. So
you know, one of the data, just side topic on the Capitol, I just found out a dating coach I know. I don't know if you know him, a Las Vegas-based dating coach, Nathan or Nathaniel.
I think the name rings a bell. Yeah.
It's like Alpha, whatever. Anyways, he was just arrested as being identified as one of the guys who stormed the Capitol.
No. Does he understand, like, or does he know how long he might get charged?
It was literally on the news. He's been arrested. It was like a few days ago. He just got arrested. So yeah, so like we have a dating coach, a guy in this industry who was there. He's on camera, all that shit. I've met him a couple of times back in, I used to live in Las Vegas. So to me, that was not a little side blurb right there, but like, yeah. There's
can you imagine just getting caught up in that, and now you're looking at, I mean, they're talking about like 10 years federal cert. Like
every time a dating coach has been on the news, it's always awful. It makes me like reassess, am I in the right industry? What the fuck? Like you heard of the Gunwitch scandal or no?
I know the guy. I know the gun. Yeah, I know the
Gunwitch. Like he shot a girl because she wouldn't give him a blowjob.
Oh god!
And he went to prison for like a pretty, like he didn't kill her or anything, but like he went to prison for a long while. So there's like a whole scandal with the Gunwitch. There were some RSD, not coaches, but like approach coaches who were sent to jail on like rape charges over in San Diego. I mean, like it's anytime I see anything with it, it's like always something really, really bad.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, Jesus. That's why I kind of want to get away from like personally my brand and whatever, away from the whole pickup stuff.
Sure, of course.
More like social circle, like a lifestyle that I build up for the guys.
No, agreed. I couldn't agree more with you. I mean, we've got a lot of work to do to sort of to rebrand ourselves. I mean, you're a lifestyle coach. I'd say I'm a dating coach plus other, as you'd probably say as well. And yeah, we've definitely got work to do. I was thinking as well, there's the RSD coach Julian as well. He had that huge scandal. That was like
he did a CNN apology tour.
Yeah. And then everyone was saying, "Oh, you shouldn't have apologized. That's where you went wrong." But who knows? And I mean, it's like I say, we've got to change that narrative. I mean, and the dice are not weighted in our favor. The mainstream media aren't looking to promote.
What would you tell somebody who's listening? I think for the most part, our listeners are guys who understand what's up, and they know what's going on. But let's just say we have a reporter or we have somebody listening in who has used this is all they've seen of the world. What would you tell them is what I would say collective we, but let's keep it on you, what you do, and what they're missing, but if they're only seeing what's about dating coaches on the news.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So look, the bad side, you've just very properly just explained, like you did a good job of explaining that there. The good side is just like, look, there's all these guys out here, like, I mean, you've heard the term incel, like involuntary celibate. Like there's all these guys out here that are just not doing well in this area, right? They're struggling, and that has knock-on effects to the culture.
My dog's acting up, but I'm keep going.
Yeah, no problem. So there's all these knock-on effects to the culture of these guys not being able to get laid, and all we're trying to do is just bring the standard up, and it's better for men and it's better for women, because women want a larger pool of attractive mates that they can potentially get with, right?
I tell women all the time, I'm doing this for you. I'm making guys less creepy for you, so you're welcome.
Exactly. And you think about any other field like on the planet, whether it's learning violin or learning rugby or learning whatever. I mean, there's a skill set to it. Like, why would this be any different? And the other thing to remember is we've completely moved away from that sort of tricks and how to manipulate a girl who doesn't really like you. I mean, all of that sort of scandalous nonsense. That was basically a mainstream media narrative anyway. Like, we've now moved into like deep level change, like actually making the guy attractive. Like, how do you actually make a leader out of someone? Like, And there's lots of different ways to do it. Like there is good eye contact, there's bad eye contact, there's knowing social situations, and there's not knowing them. And like this is completely learnable. Like we all the tools are there, and we just got to frame it correctly and get it out there.
Absolutely. I guess let's talk about some tactics or brass tacks or guys listening. What tips can you give guys here on how to get attraction better, how to start getting results this weekend? They want to go out, they don't know what to do. They maybe know an opener or two, or they saw a YouTube video. What can we arm them with? How do we get them some results here? Let's go back to those listeners.
Okay, great. So a beginning guy, and he's going out. He's got a couple of buddies or a buddy to go out.
Let's do 3 pieces of advice. Let's go of a beginner listening, an intermediate guy, and an advanced guy. What would you tell them?
Okay, cool. All right. So a beginner, I would say like right on, like good stuff. Like come in here and get a hug from the group, and like let's do this because you've made the right decision. Let's go out and let's improve stuff. So you've already done the hard work, right? The second thing is just try and have fun. Like you're going to go out. Like if you're not so good at this at the moment, like you're going to get burnt out, and that happens to me, that happens to Jared, that happens to everyone.
You know what I get all the time with that? I love that piece of advice of like actually make it fun. It's one of my success. I believe all problems in life and trying to succeed at something come down to one of my 25 success mantras. Maybe that's hubris, I don't know, but I can always come down to one of these 25 things. And one of them is if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. And but some backlash I get for that beginner guy, because I know what he's thinking. The guy listening to you right now, have fun, good job, go out there, just make it your own. I guarantee he's going to come back with this question or this complaint saying there's nothing fun about getting blown out. There's nothing fun about dealing with rejection. There's nothing fun about feeling like a loser when I go out at night and I'm not able to make it work, whatever. So I already know that negativity is fostered in at least one listener right now. What would you say to that guy?
I would say, right, it's like you have jokes with your friends, right? You have a sense of humor, like you joke around with your buddies. Like I was literally like thinking of that Oompa Loompa song, from the original movie today.
Of course.
It's just like playing in my mind where it's just like when the fat kid gets taken away. And it's like, I was just thinking, damn, I wish I could, because we were all locked down in England. I was like, damn, I wish I could go out and just talk shit to a girl about this song. But it's like, because I find it funny. So that's the thing, right? It's like, what are you joking around with your friends anyway? Just do that. Just joke around with your friends, and then just tap a girl on the shoulder and just say the same thing to her. Just like, what do you think about this? What do you think about the Oompa Loompa song? Like, like the guy in the Oompa Loompa song says, like, I don't like the look of it. And it's like, do you like the look of it? Like, it's just like stupid, nonsensical stuff. Like, remember, like, they're just girls. They're just other humans. Like, it doesn't necessarily matter so much, like, their opinion of you. But it's easy for me to say, and it's difficult for you to internalize. You just got to sort of trust in me and trust in Jared and go out there and do that. So that would be the first.
What about the intermediate guy? What would you say?
Yeah, so that's the beginner guy. Just try and go out, have fun. Well done for just giving it a go in the first place.
Get out of your head.
Self-amused and go from there. Intermediate guy, I would say, okay, you're going out, you can pull occasionally, and you want to just get a little bit more consistency, right? Maybe you've been getting girls that you're okay attracted to, but you'd like to get girls you're really attracted to. So I would say, like, again, we mentioned leadership before. I think that's huge, right? So just if again, GOST doesn't necessarily say that this is the way to do it, but if you want to pull a girl home to yours or back to hers consistently, leading her around physically is the best way to do it, right? So do that. So like I mentioned before, like literally go and talk to a girl. Now we have a linear model to game a lot of the time, right? So it's like, go over, open, talk shit to her. Once she's attracted, that's the hook point. So now she doesn't want you to leave anymore. Once you've hit this point, now lead her around, right? So literally, like, it sounds bad, but obviously consensually, and it's fine. Like, hey, just come over here. Like, let's just go 5 foot down to the bar. Like, just come with me. You're getting her used to just following you places.
Do you know who John Sin is? Back in
the porno guy, right?
He was known as a king of content. He had that he had a lip ring, shaved his head. He spoke to me a few conventions. Sin with 2 N's, SINN.
Do you know what I do? Yeah, I do reckon it wasn't he in the game. I think he
So
might.
there's Sin with one N who was in the game.
Right.
And right after, come around 2004, after the
Right.
game was written, Sin with two N's came in, no relation, didn't know about each
Right.
other. And he started doing this. Anyway, long story short. So he was my wing for about 6 months nonstop here in Florida. And what you just said like brought me back because I've heard him on stage a bunch of times. And one thing he would always say is like, listen, you always have the oh shit button. If at any point you're just going, oh shit, I don't know what to do, take the girl by the hand and just lead her somewhere. Hey, let's go over
Yeah.
here. Hey, let's go do this. And one, it gets her used to following you around and you leading. And number two, it gives you some time to figure out what the fuck do I want to do now. And he just called it the oh shit button.
Yeah, and it's got the other thing, just if you're, I mean, like you say, most of the audience here might know what's up, but if you're new to this sort of content, all of this is consensual. So, like, if she's got any resistance to doing that, that's fine. It's like, okay, no problem. Like, oh, do you want to come outside? Like, come with me to have a cigarette? And she's like, oh, actually, I don't smoke and it's cold. I don't want to come. No problem. Like, I'll go outside, have a cigarette quickly, and just come back in.
Right. The idea is not to force; it is to persuade. On my guy, funny enough, a lot of my calls, my guys are always asking the questions like, how do I make her go on a date with me? How do I get her to text me back? How do I get her to do this? Get her to do that? Get her to do that? And I'm like, you're thinking about it wrong. You're thinking, how do I get? While I'm always thinking, how do I create desire so that she wants to do those things herself? And then I'll ask for it. Like the best time to ask a girl to go on a date is when she has a desire to go on a date with you. So I'm not trying to use trickery or trying to do some crazy tactic shit of like, how do I trick this girl or really make her go on a date with me where she can't say no, she has to go on the date with me? It's the wrong form of thinking. I want it to be, by the time I ask her to go on a date with me, she goes, yes.
Yeah.
Fuck yes. Like she feels like she won, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't have sex with a girl or go for sex until the girl's with, like I'm turning her on and I go for arousal as much as possible. The desire. Sex happens when the girl whispers, do you have a condom? Like that's how I know. That's why there's no, LMR or dealing with problems in bed, because if you're creating the desire, this doesn't happen. It's all those problem points of like getting, LMR or any of that kind of shit, or like girls not want to meet up on a date. She's not meeting up on the date. She's not answering back. She's all these problems come from I'm trying to get a girl to do something versus really the problem is right before that. It's you didn't build up the desire. I don't know anyone. I mean, Kieran, if you're hungry, right? If you're fucking hungry for food, I don't think I have to use any trickery or crazy persuasion or anything to get you to want to go out for lunch.
Exactly.
Like, so when people are like, how do I get Kieran to go out to lunch with me? Get him hungry. Get him really hungry and offer it. Like, that's how I think about this.
Or a really simple analogy I just use as a model is like, it'd be like a comedian. Like this is like what you're saying, the guy's saying. It's like a comedian going on stage and just being like, how do I get the audience to laugh? It's like, be funny. That's the answer. Yeah. How do I get her to do this? Like, be attractive enough that she wants to do it. That's literally the answer. So that brings us to what the advanced guy, right?
Advanced guy.
So the advanced guy. So you can bring a girl home pretty easily. You just want an absolute stunner as a girlfriend, or let's say you want that. That's what a lot of guys want, right? So it's like, so now you're going up to girls in the club who are very physically attractive, and they've heard it all before, right? So they're not giving you as much up front. They're not. So basically, going back to that model, you're not going to hook them as quickly. You're going to have to the industry calls it plowing. So you're going to need to just hang in there a little bit. And what I would say to you, if you don't have this piece of the puzzle yet, is momentum. So, and that's on a micro level for the night out. So if you're like, I mean, when I'm going on a night out, it's like I'm talking to the guy in the cab, then I'm talking to the first person to see. I'm just building up. And it's like, you are going to hit this point at the end of the night where you really you're not thinking about it anymore. And good things just tend to happen at that point. I mean, you'll speak to a girl who's your perfect sort of physical type, and it will just be natural at that point. You'd have just gone through, maybe you'd have talked to like 30 different people. Your dog's just cuddled up in your bed there.
Yeah, I was making sure he's not being mischievous, but yeah. That's perfect. Yeah, I think momentum is a huge one.
Yeah, and then unlike on a macro level as well. So if you want to consistently get to this point where you're seeing girls that you think are really physically attractive, yeah, it's going to be momentum through the days, the weeks, the months, the years. And it's just like stacking this on top of each other.
Versus the whole start, stop, and then
Yeah,
nothing
yeah.
actually gets
It's like
done.
any other muscle, right? It's like you don't go to the gym for 4 months. It's going to be
Mhm.
tricky when you come back.
So you guys heard it here. These are the ways of getting your shit together. If any guys listening want to learn more about you or reach out to you, what's their best course of action here? What do we do?
Definitely. So I would say the best thing to do is probably our YouTube channel, which is GOST, which is GOST, and then dating and lifestyle. It's a little bit of a mouthful, but it's GOST, dating and lifestyle. And then Instagram as well, we're GOST, GOST, underscore dating, underscore lifestyle. And my Facebook page is GOST dating and lifestyle as well. So,
Love it.
so that'd be great. Yeah.
All right. Well, Garen, dude, thank you so much for being here and dropping some knowledge bombs for the guys. I appreciate it. I'm sure they do as well.
Thank you very much, Evan. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity. So yeah, and really always a pleasure to chat to you as well, personally. So.
Of course.